What up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. I'm here with my guy, Adam Costas, and our other horseman, Zenith, will be joining us shortly, we hope. And the angel, the wind beneath our wings up here, always looking down. NYG Jeffy T, man, always in the building with us, man. This is the Premium Taste Podcast. Let's go. What's going on? Good night out there, Adam, man. How you feeling tonight, brother?
Good evening. I am feeling, well, a little under the weather, but I'm here because it's the NFL. I'm going to run on that adrenaline. Just shoot me up, coach. I'm going in the game.
Absolutely, man. Oh, here with another edition of the Premium Taste coming at our new time slot. Friday nights, man. It's
What do we get? Nightcap.
still getting used to it a little bit. Still, trying to I'm trying to function at these hours, these times. I'm usually laying my head down on some old man stuff, man. But what's
Hey,
going on? No Mets, no Nets, no Jets, man. Thanks for
yeah,
stopping in,
we are
brother.
old. I mean, but guess what, Mac? The game is going this late on Sunday, so we have to condition ourselves right now, right? So
Absolutely, because I did barely hang in there last night, man. I barely hung in there, but just got through it, man. But I did. I managed to make it, man. Speaking of last night, let's get right on into that game, man. Last night's NFL season kicked off last night in Kansas City with the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Detroit Lions, man. How'd you feel? Take on some of the what you take on this game last night, Adam?
first off, way to start an NFL season. The NFL got it right. They took one of the up and coming teams in the Detroit Lions, and they put them up against the best team, defending champs, in the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's a lot of storylines in this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't have Chris Jones. Travis Kelsey was on the sideline with an injury leading up to the game. So, but you thought, hey, you know what? This is the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no way, even with these guys out, that it would be a close game. And it was a very back and forth contest. I feel like Kansas City had a chance to take a lot of momentum, and they didn't carpe diem. They didn't seize the day at all because Tony missed one that landed on a guy's hands. In the time when they had the game, they were up 14-7, driving down the field, a chance to take a 17, maybe even a 21-7 lead. And I think once that bobble happened, the game complexion changed. Another thing I liked was Dan Campbell knowing the situation, 4th and 2, inside his own red zone, going for it, doing that punt, igniting his offense to get that points. I think that was needed. I think the Detroit Lions proved to the NFL that um, they can hang with anybody. I will say this though, I do want to criticize Dan Campbell a little bit. I think towards the latter part of the game, when they had that game-winning drive, their play selection wasn't very good. And I'm like, you're trying to kill a drive, and you're not really running, you're not really passing, and you're taking Gibbs out. Who, to me, I would have put Gibbs in on that. I know that he had a little bit of a hesitation, and maybe he didn't want to do that, but that guy was getting 6 yards a clip. The guy was lightning. Montgomery ended up working out, but they were at 4th and 2. And I'm looking at 4th and 2. I'm like, what are you doing here? You should have passed on third and whatever, and then now you would have had it, and you could have punted because I thought your defense was playing well. Then on the other side, Kansas City hits the ball with like 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, and they have penalties. They have penalties that didn't cost them the game. First off, that false start. That tackle was off sides at least 3 or 4 times prior to being called offsides at the end of the game.
That
There's at least
tackle was offsides the whole damn. That dude could have gotten a legal formation penalty the whole entire game. It was
there was
terrible.
definitely somebody in Chris Collinsworth's ear because normally the announcer like draws a line down the line of scrimmage, right, to show you where their heads are at. They didn't even do that. This guy was rocking, which is a penalty in itself. All right, your leg is back. You're not even technically on the line of scrimmage, which technically means you could be an eligible receiver because you're off the line of scrimmage, right? So You mess with the formation. And on top of that, you did all that to take advantage of a guy, and you still got your ass kicked every fucking play by Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson had a hell of a night, man. That kid and the whole Detroit defense actually was one of the more surprising storylines of that game last night for me. That Detroit defense really rose to the occasion, man. With like you said, Patrick Mahomes was still out there doing Patrick Mahomes like things,
Yeah, he did.
and at the end of the day, it wasn't good enough. I mean, obviously his receivers
Well,
did him
it
zero
was good enough.
favors, but
His teammates let him down because it's not
well,
his. He put the ball right in the spots where they needed to be. You like Guy Watson. Watson has a big catch down the field that probably Tyreek Hill would catch, or maybe Nicole Harmon. But this guy Watson, who barely plays, is really a third, fourth, fifth team wide receiver, goes out there and makes a drop, right? So even at the end of the day, he had a chance to win, and some of the play calling was kind of dumb for the Kansas City Chiefs at some points. I mean, I like Andy Reid, I do, but Jim Nagy and them, I feel like the chemistry was slightly off. They didn't, they're doing jet sweeps that look fucking predictable. The Lions knew what was coming. Like I get it, but you had no creativity. There was no flow. I just felt like Kansas City didn't know what to do, and they had no answer for Aiden Hutchinson when he moved inside. When he moved inside, they had no answer. That guy just wreaked havoc all game long.
yeah, absolutely, man. Let's go ahead and might as well address the elephant in the room, so to speak, man. Mr. Kadarius Tony, man, young man. No mess, no nest, no just here. Says here, Kadarius Tony is getting slander, but shout out to him. He'll rebound. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it slander, only because
Is that what he deserved?
I call it karma. I call it karma, man. You spent your entire off season trolling the New York Giants, sending pictures on social media, dissing the city, dissing the fan base, dissing the team. You worrying about all the wrong things when you should have been worrying about that Kansas City Chiefs playbook and having yourself ready for football with the Kansas City Chiefs, man. It's called a maturity thing, man. Like you got to grow up and worry about the things that are actually important. You sitting here wanting to be trolling the New York Giants on social media and whatnot, I get you nowhere, bro. And last night you went out there and you kind of embarrassed yourself. And actually, that pick six that you caused was that in a sense, if you look at the score of the game, that cost this Kansas City Chiefs the game. So plays like that, and then another play where the ball also once again hits you right in your hands, bro. You got to make these plays. That look of disgust on Patrick Mahomes' face absolutely said it all in that moment. That when they camera just cut to Patrick Mahomes after that second drop, he just looked like he was just absolutely disgusted. And I can only imagine what words he might have had for Kadarius Toney on that sideline. We'll never know. But honestly, it's just like it goes back to even with Baker Mayfield when he felt the need to be coming out publicly and worrying about Daniel Jones back then a few years back. And look at where Baker Mayfield is now. He's barely hanging on to a career at this point, man. Worry about your own self and worry about your own business, man. This is the NFL. You grown ass men. You got to handle your business, man. I really feel no sympathy for Kadarius Toney. He brought a lot of that on himself. Thanks for joining the chat, World Heavyweight Champion. Any thoughts on Kadarius Toney, Adam?
Oh, sure. Yeah. To me, Kadarius Toney laid an egg. Okay. You're going to sit there and talk all this smack, say how, have a decent Super Bowl game, right? He didn't play badly in that game, was utilized well. You come out here and they make you your number one, and I can see the frustration brewing. There was one play or two plays where one ball was behind him and he missed it and he got frustrated. And then another time he didn't see the guy crossing him and Mahomes kind of forced it to him and he wasn't looking. And it's just like, get your head in the game, bro. You're number one. Now, I think what's going to happen is eventually he's not going to be in the starting lineup anymore. And it's going to be Justin Ross, the Rice kid who I think had some juice and is going to make some big plays for Patrick Mahomes. And then, Sky Moore. Now, you can't blame Kadarius Toney for being young. This is just not seizing the moment. We talk about carpe diem. This is if Kadarius Toney makes those catches, not only does Patrick Mahomes' numbers go up and back to Mahomes-esque numbers, but we're talking about, wow, man, look at this guy. This guy fucking showed us out and took all the pressure and did. Instead, you end up being an idiot and looking stupid. Now, if I were Patrick Mahomes, I would have looked over at him and said, "Listen, man, one phone call, your ass will be out of here. You ever play like that again? Don't bother showing up in the locker room." Because to me, that's the type of talking you need to give that kid. Like, listen, you want to go in your rap career? We're the Kansas City Chiefs. You want to fuck around with the Giants and Joe Judge? You do that on your time. When we here, we win championships. Either get on board or get out the fucking way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another note for Detroit Lions, man. Last night, had some good rookie performances out there last night, man. That linebacker they got, that on the rookie linebacker they got, and took in the first round. He went out there and made some great plays last night. Put some good work in, as well as Jameer Gibbs, man. People were questioning that pick that night at the draft, man. I was, like I said, there, so I know people were seriously scratching their head at that pick. But he's going out there and he proved that he belongs as well. I believe this young man looked absolutely explosive, and I expect big things from him this season. What do you think about a couple of those guys?
The first off, Jameer Gibbs is like lightning in a bottle. You know, lightning in a bottle. And to me, that guy is so electrifying that he's going to break a couple long runs. It's a matter of time. It's not an if, it's a when. When he does it, people are going to realize how good of a player he is. And it just goes to show what scouting does. You never know what people do and how they scout and what they look at. It's like scouting is like shopping for like a car, right? We all have different needs and different skill sets, different likes and different tastes. We all want to get the Maserati, but you know what? We got a deal right here to take this car, right? So they did their research. They knew that he was one of the best backs. He played for Alabama. It's not like the guy didn't have a great career. And then he comes out, and I think they're going to have a good 1-2 punch. He's going to be a receiver as well for them eventually. I will say this, sticking with their offense, they are missing a number 2 wideout over there. If they had a number 2 wideout, I think they'd pretty much be unstoppable. Um, you saw them get bogged down. They still made plays. They got open. They did things. They made it work. And I also think you're starting to see the signs of what preseason does for you. When you don't play preseason, you come out like this, and you look a little lethargic. You don't look all ready. Your guys aren't 100%. So I was excited about their offense, what they did defensively. I was impressed. I was really impressed with their defense. I think their defense deserves a high five because they played their asses off. Right? They played their asses off. They only really gave up what? They gave up 20 points, and that's all you can ask a defense to give up, especially against a Kansas City Chiefs team that's very explosive and knows how to score in many different ways. So hats off to them. They also scored themselves. Remember, the Lions were held to 14 points offensively, and that pick six was the difference in the game. They don't get that pick six. We're maybe talking about what a great effort the Lions gave, but they came up short as normal. And like I said, the only other thing about that I would say about the offense is they need a little bit more killer instinct towards the end of the game. You can't give the Kansas City Chiefs the ball back with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, with 3 timeouts. I thought that was a little bit of a risk that you were playing. You should have just punted them back there and taken your lumps and say, your defense, you're playing well, let's do it. It ended up not mattering in the long run, but that's a critique. As for Jack Campbell, again, we don't know how to scout well. That's why we are here doing this and not on the road every day scouting. He played a phenomenal game. He changed the complexion of their defense running downhill. Um, you know, he kept they kept a lot of guys off him too, right? The line couldn't get to the second level. I think the Lions defense, I think overall the defense played a pretty good game. I really do. I can't complain with what they did. They kept the Lions in the game. They got the momentum back. With an interception, and not only just an interception, but a pick six, which rarely happens to Patrick Mahomes. So I really think the Lions hit home runs with these guys, and we might be talking about these guys a long time in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. As far as the wide receiver situation in Detroit, I hear what you're saying with the number 2 guy, but at the end of the day, you got to remember the young man, the rookie from a year ago, is right now currently suspended, first round pick, This Jameson Williams or something like that. Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's what his name is. Yeah, he's suspended, currently suspended. And Marvin Jones Jr. had a night to forget. You know, to be quite frank, he did have a night to forget. Honestly, old veteran,
You
savvy
know, it
veteran
was his
receiver
first
Marvin
fumble of his
Jones Jr.
career. First fumble ever.
That's unbelievable. That was an unbelievable stat. That is many years he's been in the league. That was his first fumble ever, and it came at a tough time, man. Down in the red zone, left points on the board right there. So
And that I think
left
I
points
think
on
that
the.
was a turning point in the game right there, where I thought the momentum was going to be seized because then Kansas City goes back down and scores. That game was 7-7 at that point, and Detroit's looking like, hey, we're going to take the lead here. We're really gonna do this thing. And you got to give credit to that team to never wavering, right? You're in Arrowhead Stadium, which is a hard place to play. You got Patrick Mahomes. They bring out the Super Bowl trophy. They had all these fireworks, pyrotechnics, a lot going on. Not even in your building. Your fan base came out. Kudos to them coming out and supporting you guys, man. And then now, for the first time in your history, your fan base has sold out your arena, right? First time. A lot of firsts for the Lions this year, man. This is a different Lions team. This is the biggest win I can remember in the last decade for them that I can really really remember. Outside of maybe when I was a kid, and they made the playoffs. This is probably the hugest win they've ever had.
I mean, it could be. I mean, because this is not a spot you've seen the Lions in very often. You know, and where all eyes were just on them. Basically, like I said, that was the only game being played last night. It wasn't like some kind of doubleheader. It wasn't like any other game going on to distract you away from the Detroit Lions, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Detroit Lions really, they went out there and they showed what they're capable of and what you're looking to see probably this season from this Detroit Lions team. They got a great 1-2 punch in that backfield. I think David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs complement each other very well. Jameer Gibbs with the explosion, David Montgomery with the grinded out tough yards. And it's I mean, it looks like this could be really something. This offense could be really something special, man. Jared Goff, veteran quarterback, with a winning pedigree. What's going on, NYG? Thanks for stopping in, bro. These guys can, these guys. I mean, this team can go out there and thrive, man. They showed that last night playing against the absolute best in the business, man, and the Patrick Mahomes led Kansas City Chiefs. Now we know about the injury situation with Travis Kelce and how that affected the offense clearly. At the end of the day, I mean, this is still a great Kansas City team, and it's still led by the greatest quarterback, by the best quarterback on the planet, man, and by one of the best coaches to ever do it. So they came up a little bit short in their season debut. I mean, obviously it's a long season, 16 more games left to be played, but hats off to the Detroit Lions, man. It was a great showing out there, and I gotta give them their props, man. Most definitely. Any last things from this game? Takeaways from this game, Adam?
So the Lions are going to be hard out. Just know that. When you go play them, they're going to be 60 minutes wire to wire, wall to wall.
I agree, and I think it just kind of almost it may be too early to say this, but I think it kind of solidifies that they probably are the best team in that NFC North division this year, and it's going to come down to basically them wanting it and their will. Because I don't look like when I look at the NFC the landscape of the NFC North, this Detroit Lions look like it's probably most definitely the best team in that division this year. But time will only tell. Time will only tell, man. Let's move on a little bit, man. Let's go last Saturday, man. The college football season got into full swing, man, and we had a quite the upset. As number 17 TCU was hosting the Colorado Buffaloes, unranked team that only won one game a year ago. And Deion Sanders can come up taking that job and took a lot of criticism, man. A lot of criticism from other coaches around the nation. People saying acting like Deion Sanders doesn't belong at this level, acting like he doesn't. His approach is the wrong way. Doesn't This is not the way to handle it. How you handle a team and whatnot, this, that, and the other. And Deion Sanders was collecting a lot of receipts last Saturday afternoon after his game, after his Colorado Buffaloes upset the TCU, whatever they are, the TCU team on last Saturday, man. How do you feel about what you take? I ain't really heard your opinion too much about this, Adam.
They're the TCU Frogs. I thought it was.
Yeah, no.
I thought Deion Sanders did what Deion Sanders does best, and that's be himself. He is prime time for a reason. He came out. He had those boys fired up. People don't like the approach. Well, guess what? He shoved it down their throats. They played a pretty good football game. A team that shouldn't have been anywhere. You know why people don't like Deion Sanders? It's because he's bringing change. Okay, when you don't like somebody from the get go and you never seen them coach, and you feel threatened by them because more players might come out and rise to the ranks. That's what's happening. He had no coaching experience outside of that. He coached college. He went to Jackson State. He might have coached his high school, his son's high school football team, but then he goes to Jackson State. I think it was Jackson State. And he turns that program around. And everyone's like, oh, it's Jackson State. He can't really do that on a big level. And no one gave him any jobs. Actually, he interviewed apparently last year for a big time job, and they overlooked him. So Colorado, who won in whatever they did last year, 1-13, what do they have to lose? They're going to get notoriety if he comes there, right? They're going to get boosters to come there. Deion Sanders is going to revitalize the program just by being Deion Sanders, right? Now you watch him, you watch the lead up and the build up to it, right? His approach is great. His approach is, hey, these kids are going to earn their playing time, right? Because I think something along the lines, they didn't have their names on their jerseys, something like that. He's like, they're going to earn that, right? He was like, no, you haven't named a starting quarterback yet. They're gonna. Is there a reason for that? How come your son's not there? He's like, if my son gets it, it's because he earned it, right? And basically, what he was trying to teach these kids is it's not going to be given to you because he's like, nothing was given to me. And he ends up going to Colorado, and look what he did. His son has a phenomenal performance, right? That Colorado program looks turned around. They were physical. They had a good offense. They were well run. Deion Sanders was what he needed to be. He was the coach and the CEO. He let his coordinators do the work, and he was there to take the pressure off the team. And I think what Deion's going to provide is a guy who is going to allow you to be you, allow you to have some swagger and deal with playing football. And he'll take all the criticism. He'll take all the flack because that's what he's known for. That's what he does. That's what Deion Sanders is good for. I was talking about Deion Sanders recently, and I wanted to bring it up that how well he's done at every level of what he's done, from high school to being a Florida State return man, going to the NFL, dominating with the Atlanta Falcons, going to the 49ers, winning a Super Bowl there, going to the Cowboys, winning a Super Bowl there, playing both sides of the ball because he was so bored of playing. The one went to him on defense and he got bored that he's like, I got to make an impact a different way and asked to play offense. That's how good he was. And he was a decent receiver. Wasn't great, but there were times where he made some long catches and some big plays and you're like, wow, this guy's a phenomenal athlete. He was a decent athlete at baseball, and now he comes in and he was a decent analyst, right? He was on NFL Network and he was analyzing and talking in prime time and all this stuff, having a good time when that young crew was establishing that network. And now here he is going from, like I said, Jackson State to Colorado and really change the game. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, man, this guy might change things. And if this program gets to a bowl game or fights for a national title or something like that, or is in the national hunt or does well, we're going to have to give Deion a lot of credit. And maybe we have to relook at some things when we evaluate our coaches and our coaching hires.
Good stuff, man. Absolutely. And Deion Sanders, Colorado Buffaloes have already matched their win total from a season ago after just 1 week of the college football season, man. Man, you talk about a proud papa, man. You talk about a proud papa, man. Because we all know, obviously, what his son Shador accomplished on, shattering Colorado passing records on Saturday, man. Shador Sanders, 38 for 47, 510 yards, and 4 touchdown passes. Absolutely amazing. But I think we're almost forgetting that he has another son on that squad too, man. Young Shiloh Sanders, who also on the defensive side of things came through with 10 big tackles, man. And he's put together a really fantastic team over there in Colorado. Some very talented individuals out there, man. There's other guys you can talk about on this football team. Travis Hunter played both ways the whole entire game. Basically, he played both ways on offense and defense. As a receiver, Travis Hunter had 11 catches, 119 yards on a day, and then he made and on defense he had an
Could have had a
interception
touchdown, but it's all right.
had an interception as well as making a couple other just key plays on the defensive side of the ball. And then young Dylan Edwards, man, the running back, kept coming through with had a rushing touchdown, had 3 receiving touchdowns, went over 100 yards receiving. 4 guys went over 100 yards receiving for the Colorado Buffaloes, man. So it's just a great overall performance against a TCU team that was just in the national championship game back in January. So just I mean, it's just very good. Hats off to what Deion Sanders accomplished. I think people are trying to downplay this a little too much. The TCU Horned Frogs are a very good football
They're
team.
a
And it's a
great team.
reason why they were 20-point favorites going into this game, and the Colorado Buffaloes shut all the critics up. Man, it's just
Yeah,
an amazing. It was an amazing accomplishment. I mean, it's not Appalachian State, Michigan level
I
upset, but
think
at the end
so.
of the day, it was a big upset. At the end of the day, still, and
I
and
think
this
they
was
I
go
think
ahead,
people
Adam.
I think people were mad at Dion because he used the transfer portal more than anybody else in the game, and he was like, "Why not?" Right? And more people were like, "Oh, we're not using the transfer portal," and it's almost like free agency for college, where guys can now come and go wherever they want, and it's a good thing to have because if you're not playing well, and you're building a team like Colorado, you can say, "Hey, man, come here. We'll get you some playing time." And who wouldn't want to be on that Colorado? I mean, I would want to be a scrub on that Colorado team just because I'd be like, "Yo, man, Deion Sanders is my coach. We're going to be doing something, just to be a part of that organization and that piece of history." That's what I would want to do.
I mean, people gravitate to a guy like Dion. Like you got an opportunity, a young man coming up. You got an opportunity to go play for prime time for Deion Sanders, man. I mean, you take that opportunity in a situation where you know you're going to a school where you have a legitimate chance to get on the field. I believe this Dylan Edwards, young man, a running back that had such a big day. I believe he had initially committed to Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken. But look, I mean, Deion Sanders, Colorado, is a guy that apparently Deion Sanders was worked with this young man since he was a kid, growing up, coming up through the AAU and all that, everything else. So I think you take the opportunity, you seize the moment, man. They don't always come. And look, Deion Sanders like he's turning this team around. My Colorado is now ranked this week, has currently moved into the top 25 this week, number 22. And they got Nebraska coming up on Saturday. Expect to see some more of the magic we saw a week ago.
I do. I think the moment when you in college football is all about momentum, right? And they have a bigger rosters. They play for more. Their games are a lot more fun. And I think when you build momentum with what Dion is doing, it motivates you. And I think they're not afraid to take on anybody, and they shouldn't be. They shouldn't feel that way. They are a talented team. Go out and play like that. Now, are they going to throw 500 yards every week? Probably not.
No.
But should they be a good team going forward? I do believe so. And I think it starts today. I think this week when they play Nebraska, I think they're going to win again. I think they're going to go back to back. And the reason why I believe they're going to go back to back is because I think they need to prove that hey, not only last week was a fluke, but last week wasn't a fluke, but this week is also a new chapter. And I want to see if they can build that momentum. I'm sure Dion's going to have them ready.
I agree, Adam. I agree. I mean, they're going into this game this week as favorites, actually, this week. But I think this team just humble enough to handle the pressures of everything coming their way. I mean, it's still way too early, but I think after the performance Shador Sanders had, he's kind of on everybody's radar now. How college football goes, the Heisman watch is in full effect all season long, and this young man probably played this, might have potentially played himself already into that a little bit, and long see if he can keep that momentum going and just do special things, man. Because people really questioning his ability as well. People, I mean, not only just his dad's ability, people were questioning that young man's ability if he was going to be able to get it done on this level, and he went out there and proved that in full effect last week with a huge day against a very good football team, man. Dion, no mess, no nets, no jets says Dion said this upcoming game is personal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that's from. I don't know why. Why? So I don't know the
Well,
association. Why?
listen, people are going to be coming for his neck, because they don't like who he is and what he represents. And like I said, I think he's a breath of fresh air to college football. Probably one of the best stories you're going to have all excuse me, all year round. So maybe just follow it. Let it be. This is what college football needs, man. They need. I mean, the old guard is gone. Debo. All these big schools we talk about, there aren't legendary coaches anymore. There's a lot of young and up and coming guys. And I'm not saying they're going to go out and compete with Georgia, but yeah, they should. If the coach of Nebraska, I heard, might have said some things about Dion and his approach. Yeah, well, guess what? He's gonna keep receipts. This guy's out to prove not only is he a good coach, but I'm gonna dominate this league like I did with Jackson State. Okay, and I don't blame him for any of the flack that comes his way. I hate to say that I find it refreshing, but I think he's what college football needs. Deion Sanders has always been a character, and you've never seen a character on the sidelines. No coach in the history of coaches has ever done what he's doing, wearing a gold chain, sunglasses, hat, looking like he's ready to ball out and play. Right? No one's done that. No one's done that. And I think his personality helps that football team because they don't have to worry about anything but just playing football. He'll take all the bullets. And I think for right now, it's working out. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but he also is a great motivator of men. We're talking about a Hall of Fame athlete here. I want to mention that too. Deion Sanders is a Hall of Famer. I think both in the College Football Hall of Fame and in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This guy knows what he's doing. And for an athlete, and this is what I really love about it, for an excellent athlete to be a coach is hard to find. Normally we find the guys like a Steve Kerr, who's a bench player, who doesn't get to play as much, end up being the coaches because that they have to find their niche somewhere else, right? You don't see the Michael Jordans or whatever being coaches. So to see a guy like Deion Sanders come back, put in the time, put in the work, get to coach his own kids on one of the biggest stages. I wouldn't be surprised if Deion Sanders gets a call for the NFL at some point.
I mean, I could definitely see it. I mean, if he can get this thing turned all the way around in Colorado,
You say Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, you never know, man. Like you said, Jerry, that's definitely a move. Jerry Jones definitely wouldn't shy away from. But if he gets this thing fully turned around, man, there's only one more step if he wants to continue further up that coaching tree in football, man. And that's to go to the NFL, to the league, man. So we'll see what happens and keep an eye on this for the next few years, man. Because Deion
Yeah,
Sanders he's definitely legit, man. He's proven that he definitely proven he belongs, and I think we need to stop questioning this man and just
I
watch
think
it
he's one.
happen, man.
I think he's one of the top 5 sports athlete stories of all time. Right? I mean, there's many athletes that have come and gone before him. Like but Bo Jackson's career got cut short. Right? This is the only guy close enough to Bo Jackson. He played 2 sports. Nobody's playing 2 sports these days, right? The '90s was about the 2 sport athlete: baseball, football. I mean, this guy played a violent game, not a physical game. People say it's physical. No, violent game. You're out there to hurt people. Bones break on any different plays, right? So to go out there and then you play baseball, where it's a totally different mindset where you have to now swing a bat. You're not as violent, and just to master that and do what he's doing. And like I said, is rising up the ranks and oh, by the way, putting college football on notice, saying like, yo man, don't mess with my coaching ability. Like this is what I mean. A lot of guys talk the talk but can't walk the walk, right? Deion Sanders can do both.
What's going on, man? What's going on, Alex, man, in the chat, man? Thanks for stopping in, bro. Appreciate it. But the thing about Deion Sanders, like you just said, Matt, Deion Sanders, man, this dude literally played an NFL game on a Sunday. I think this is still when he played for the Atlanta Falcons, I believe, and then literally went after the football game and had to fly wherever and play in a major league playoff game. I believe. I think he was playing for the Atlanta Braves then too. I think he was playing for the Atlanta Braves then. All in the same day. This is the guy that Deion Sanders is, man. This dude literally played a professional football game earlier in the afternoon and then played a postseason professional baseball game later on that night, man. That's the guy Deion Sanders is, man. So I mean, Deion Sanders is just he's just special. He was a special, like you said, special talent and special different kind of breed. We may never see another one like that, man, at
Well, I
all.
hope they bring that Hunter kid up that way because I'd like to see a two-way player, a guy that can do it. Do it. I mean, in college, that's when you want to shine, right? In college, that's when you want to do it. So I see, and remember, it's funny when we think about Dion playing, like, oh my God, playing offense and defense. When you're in high school, you basically have to play offense and defense, right? There's no like, hey, come on in and take a playoff or two, right? Because high school teams aren't that big. So, for me, when I first got into football and I knew that he was playing the other side of the ball, it made me think like, why doesn't more people do that? And of course, the reason is money and fame and all the business that brings with it. But it really is a two-way sport. And it really shows how athletic he was and kind of a goat when you call in terms of overall athlete of athletic ability. Like there are some top-notch people. You could say Carl Lewis. You could say Michael Jordan. You could say Pele, Tiger Woods. Deion Sanders has to be kind of in that conversation in terms of just athlete and how he just dominated many different sports.
Definitely agree with you, Adam. There, man. And, we'll just keep an eye on Dion, man. He's relevancy back to the Colorado University football program, and now we're going to see, man. Just keep something great story to watch, man. As the college football season continues to unfold, man. So he's got all eyes on that university right now, man, and deservedly so, man. Maybe to see if they do continue to do special things like they did a week ago. But I guess we can move on to the NFL, man. Sunday, man, get the full start, get the full slate of games. Week one underway fully, man. We got a little taste last night, but we get underway on Sunday fully, man, for pretty much everybody else except for the Monday night game between Jets and Buffalo. But any of the rookies you trying to keep an eye out for this Sunday? See what these guys. I mean, a lot of rookies. Going to be a lot of rookies in key spots, man. Starting for their teams, quarterbacks, whatnot, everything else in between. So, any rookies you keep an eye on for on Sunday, man?
Well, I like to see what Anthony Richardson does and follow him a little bit. I mean, he might be the starter in Indianapolis and see what he can do. I want to see how Derek Anderson performs in Denver. He was all over the field in their preseason game. Let's see if he gives them a decent boost. Obviously, in the NFC East, I'm following the Carter and Nolan Smiths and see how good those guys really are and what we have to deal with possibly for the next few years. And there to me, it's more storylines, less rookies. Like I understand there's going to be struggles. I would like to see how Bijan Robinson does. I mean, there's a lot of hype coming out about him being like excellent and fighting. He'll be the guy that wins the offensive rookie of the year. I mean, a lot of people on Good Morning Football are talking about him. So I'd like to see where it goes. Overall, though, I just want to see how this rookie class shapes up and see the next generation of quarterbacks and players that have come in, right? Like Zay Flowers. I want to see how he does. Like there's so like I'm saying the list goes on. You can go almost team by team and pick somebody that you're intrigued by or want to see and it's fascinating to watch, and I really am going to enjoy this season. And normally, I put so much effort into hating the other team, and I will do that when my 3 hours of football come on for my team. I will get in I hate mode and get into my giant persona. But as an NFL enthusiast, I really am intrigued by a lot of these guys. I want to see what Addison does for Minnesota. Like again, like I said, the list just keeps going on. I'm going to stop talking, but I gave you a few guys there that you can hang your hats on.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the Bijan Robinson thing, man. Especially after watching Jameer Gibbs last night and seeing him and seeing what the explosion that he has and what he brings to the table. Now you want to see the guy Bijan Robinson, the guy that was actually drafted before him, and we understand why the resume Bijan Robinson had made for himself in college, man. So I definitely want to see what this dude can do because I mean he's looks like he's already the real deal. Even though he only played very limited in the preseason, I saw enough. What I saw was to know that this guy is no joke. He is for real, and he's going to be bringing some special things on Sundays. It looks like for the Atlanta Falcons. And
We'll see how.
I'm kind of curious if these. What you was going to say?
No, no, no. Go on.
I'm also just curious about these quarterbacks. I mean, C.J. Stroud on Sunday has a tough test. Baltimore Ravens. So I'm curious to see these guys. Carolina. Damn, why am I forgetting his name? Damn, first not overall pick's name, but
Young.
curious to see that young. Yeah, Bryce Young. Curious to see this young man come out there. I mean, number one overall pick. You're going to have a lot of eyes on you. Playing for the Carolina Panthers, they got a tough division matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm curious to see these guys on display. You got two of the top rookies from this class facing off in that game. So it's some exciting guys I'm excited about. Alex mentioned earlier in the chat Devin Witherspoon. Definitely a guy I want to check out. That guy is a plugger, man. He might come and redefine cornerback play in the NFL the way this guy is so physical, man. Such a physical cornerback, man. And he's gonna be a special talent, man, out there. Another might have back-to-back cornerbacks winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Honestly, this kid absolutely the real deal. Devin Witherspoon, so another guy definitely excited to watch myself, Alex. Just want to say real quick shout out to Coach Ed in the chat. Appreciate you stopping in, Coach. Miz, thanks for stopping in. Most appreciated, man. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
and you said it already. The guys on the Eagles, man, the big guys on the Eagles, man. You got to keep an eye on them for obvious reasons to see if they're up for the task of filling in. Some of the big holes the Eagles lost this past off season. With Hargraves and such leaving. So see if Jalen Carter can fill those big shoes, and he looks like he has the ability to, for sure. That dude he's a big phenomenal talent, man, and if he can step in and get them even half of the production that Hargraves gave them, Eagles defense will still be once again absolutely legit, man. That front seven is no joke, and if they can just keep that production up a little bit, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it's like you said, a lot of guys, man. You can go team to team, and a lot of guys you could check out, man. But Will Anderson's another one.
Oh
I'm
man. Well,
curious.
well, I know that no Mets is saying he wants to check out our rookies. That's implied. We got 17 weeks of those guys. We're going to see in a week out, so we're going to watch them develop. But if you want to, guys that you may get a chance to see maybe with red zone, maybe because they're on a team that the Giants are playing, maybe the Jets are playing, or whatever local teams in your area. These are some of the guys we're thinking outside of the Giants. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Anthony Richardson too. Obviously, another guy he's close. You want to keep a close eye on and see how his development goes, man. But it's going to be an exciting Sunday, man. I mean, some good matchups. Definitely some good matchups. Any game standing out to you on
On Sunday, well, I think we told the folks last week we pick a game to kind of preview each of us, and my game that I was assigned was San Francisco against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let's get into that and dive into that game real quick. First off, let me start with San Francisco. Obviously, they got Nick Bosa back, defensive player of the year. Um, Obviously, got paid a lot of money, which is deservedly so, deservedly so. Highest paid player in the NFL. I forget. I think he blew past Aaron Donald, and he's a cornerstone of that defense. However, the true test will be against that 49er offense, against that Pittsburgh defense, who, by the way, has a couple pass rushes you may know as well, by the name of TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Okay. These guys bring the pain, they bring the heat. They're probably one of the best duos in the National Football League. And we still don't know what Brock Purdy's going to be with the injury. We don't know if he's fully healthy, how he's going to ease back into it. These elbow things are tricky. I think it was similar to almost Tommy John or close to it. So you just gotta see how he's going to handle it. And you got this team coming in Pittsburgh who, you know, they're I wouldn't say they're riding high, but they feel good about themselves, and why not, right? Why not? I think they brought in Marcus Golden, so they have Alex Highsmith. They have T.J. Watt, who a lot of us believe are going to be fighting for Defensive Player of the Year as well. So this game, if you like defense and you like Defensive Player of the Year candidates, this is the one you want to watch. I mean, look at it. You got Michael Fitzpatrick. You know what I mean? You have Patrick Peterson's playing for this team now to usher in Joey Porter Jr. Yeah, like I said, T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, Marcus Golden. I mean, the list goes on. Cam Hayward. I mean, this guy's still doing it big. Probably one of the best D tackles not talked about is Cameron Hayward. Going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't care what anybody says. Absolute stud in the middle of the Pittsburgh line for many years. People forget he was drafted in 2011. You know, the year all this guy needs, like, he's a three-time first team All Pro, second team All Pro, six-time Pro Bowler, 78 and a half sacks. I mean, all this guy needs really is a Lombardi Trophy, and he's going to walk in to a Hall of Fame. So Pittsburgh, I really like their defense. I really like what they're going to do. Offensively, I'm intrigued to see how Kenny Pickett bounces back and plays against his 49er defense. If he can somehow figure it out and play well against his team, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be walking away with the victory. Not saying the 49ers are bad or can't, beat this team, but this is one of those games where the 49ers can afford, if they needed to lose this game. Pittsburgh, if they want a shot at making the playoffs, really needs this game to kind of compete, because we think at least three teams from the NFC North will be fighting for at least a wild card spot. And that's not to mention the Browns are in that division as well. So you don't know what they're going to do some days. The Browns are a Jekyll and Hyde team. So Pittsburgh has to come out here and really kind of put a good showing out. If you think that, the 49ers are a notch above you, these are the games that when I was a kid growing up, you got to really have a measuring stick and say, hey, listen, is this the game for us? Right. So we'll see. Pittsburgh, I like them. I'm not. I don't know if they're going to win, but I definitely like. I like what Pittsburgh's doing.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Pittsburgh has been everybody's upset special for the week, man. From just things I've been hearing all week from people, talking to people in those circles, man. Pittsburgh has definitely been one of the upset specials of the week. A lot of people picking Pittsburgh to not just cover the spread, but to win this football game outright against the 49ers, man. 49ers traveling across the country. So I mean, it's never an easy task when you're crossing time zones like that, playing an early game on a Sunday. It's like 1 o'clock over here. It's normally like 10 o'clock for those guys out there in San Fran. So it's definitely a little bit of a difference, man. What's going on, Chad? Thanks for stopping in, bro.
But if we think that if
But
we think the 49ers are who we think they are, right? They need to beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is an up and coming team that we believe is going to be in the playoffs, going to be, fighting for the AFC North titles going forward, right? They're still in their developmental phase. They're exciting to watch. Maybe they'll get to the wild card, maybe not. But again, they're still building. The 49ers, on the other hand, they're trying to stamp their ticket to the Super Bowl. That's what they're built for. That's what they're trying to get to. They need to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers out the gate.
Coach Ed here says, I'm intrigued with the Cincinnati Cleveland game. What is Watson going to bring? Burrow's money man does play like it, and the division rivalry game. Yeah, that's definitely one of the another good game on the slate Sunday, man. Cleveland Cincinnati, like you said, big time rivalry game. Some storylines in this game as well. In-state rivalry. Deshaun Watson, we haven't really got to see if he's going to step back up this year and look like the Deshaun Watson that we knew a couple of years ago before all the drama and everything else that's been going on in his life, personal life, or the off the field things. And Joe Burrow, man, Joe Burrow broke the bank this week, man. As we know, he is now the highest paid player in the history of the NFL until the next person puts their name on that dotted line. We know how that works, but Joe Burrow, man. This game here. What's your thoughts on this game, Adam?
We will see if they have the same kind of effect as last year. Remember, Joe Burrow missed preseason last year and came in and kind of was rusty in the first game, and they lost. Right, then the second week they went up against the Cowboys in the second half of that game. They kind of found their stride and stole one from the Cowboys. So I think I think it's going to be interesting. I'm with Coach here. I'm intrigued to see how Watson plays. I mean, we forget last year he didn't wasn't with the team for since August, late August, right? And then shows up in like November, and then you're like, okay, I hope you read your playbook, because you couldn't do anything other than read your playbook. Come out and he had some struggles. Now I'm not gonna lie, the pressure of probably having that big old scandal probably hurts, and gets the psyche out. But if we get the Deshaun Watson that was in Houston his last year when that team went 4-13, and he threw for 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. The Browns might be a Super Bowl contender
What a fan.
because their defense is pretty good. Their defense is underrated. They got the Smith brothers, the Darius Smith out there. They have Miles Garrett, who some people think could be Defensive Player of the Year if he puts it all together. And they have a decent offensive line, actually one of the best offensive lines in football, and one of the best running backs that we seldom talk about, but somehow always ends up in the top running back conversation, and Nick Chubb. So put that all together. Let's see what they can do. Because Cleveland to me is one of those teams. Cleveland to me is one of those teams that if they put it together, they should be in the final 14 teams left standing for the tournament, right? Because they have that much talent on their team. I mean, if you want to comb through their roster, you can see what I'm talking about. Not to mention their defensive backs are pretty good, and it's really what Cleveland Browns are going to show up if they underachieve. Which I know a lot of people are saying Watson's not going to return to form. I mean, the guy's 28 years old. Okay, the guy was a damn near MVP. He has Kevin Stefanski, who is an offensive play caller, who should be on the hot seat, by the way, if he doesn't get to the playoffs with this roster. I mean, look at this roster. They have Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who I happen to love. Nick Chubb, who's one of the best backs in football. Again, we don't talk about him as much, but all that guy does is get 1,400 yards, right? Then you have David Bell, Amari Cooper, Marquise Goodwin, who's on that team, Elijah Moore, who's pretty good, right? Donovan Peoples-Jones had a decent career, and they drafted Cedric Tillman. So they have a decent receiving core, right? Then they have Jordan Akins as a tight end. He's not great. David Njoku is their starting tight end. So they have a lot of offensive firepower. And then their line, Jack Conklin, got over from Tennessee. DeJuan Jones, they just drafted. James Hudson. They have Wyatt Teller, who's pretty good for them. And not to mention Jedrick Willis, who's having a solid career as well. And then you flip over to the defensive side of the ball. We already know what Myles Garrett's going to do. Shelby Harris is more than competent, right? They got Sika Ika, the defensive tackle. They have Zadarius Smith. They got Dalvin Tomlinson. People forget about that. So their run defense is going to be pretty blustered, right? In the middle of the line, they have their linebackers could be their weakest point, right now. I mean, they have a few guys out here, Matthew Adams, Muhammad, Jeremiah Osukamara. I know that he was from Notre Dame. He was a big-time selection. He was injured. If he puts it together, they could have a fast defense. And then you have Grant Delpit, Mike Ford, Ronnie Hillman, Rondé McLeod, Denzel Ward, who was pretty good. So they have some guys, Greg Newsom, who was pretty good. Okay, so they have some decent corners out there that could really put it together. Is Kevin Stefanski that coach? I don't know. Will they do it? Who knows? But don't sleep on the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, it was long-winded.
No, that's all good. It's all good. I do want to flip back real quick. I'm sorry. We switch gears real quick. Let's go back. Let's go back in reverse. Go back to this San Fran Pittsburgh game again a little bit with no Mets, no Nets, no Jets here. So let's see what Brock can do. And I'm assuming he's talking about obviously Brock Purdy. This young man, obviously, we know his story. Mr. Irrelevant a year ago in the draft. Came out, did some special things for the San Francisco 49ers down the stretch last year until he got injured in the playoffs. Won the starting job this year. This is who they felt comfortable going forward with. Traded Trey Lance. Kept Sam Darnold on as a backup to Brock Purdy. What do you expect to see from Brock Purdy, man, out there? Do you think you're going to see a guy that may regress and look like Mr. Irrelevant, or you think you're going to see a guy that can go out there and still play with that same confidence he had a year ago, a season ago, when he was leading this team into the playoffs?
Well, Zion got here. We'll let him have the floor for a few minutes. He can talk about it, and then I will chime in on my thoughts on Brock Purdy.
Absolutely.
You're too kind, Adam. I appreciate that. And what's up, guys? Thank you so much for holding it down. My G's up top always got my back. Thank you so much for that. Um, yes, I think Mr. Irrelevant, right, gets drafted last. A lot of people want to maybe run their mouths, maybe say like, hey, he has the roster built for him. He has the whole roster in front of him. All they need is a quarterback. The San Francisco's ready to win a Super Bowl. Guess what, guys? He still has to do his job. He still has to go and do his job. And that's exactly what he did last season. He did his job. And guess what now? In the whole offseason, he's been dealing with an injury, and he's also been dealing with, he doesn't know if he's gonna have his moment again. He doesn't know if Trey Lance is gonna be the starter. He doesn't know if Sam Darnold is gonna be the starter. But guess what? San Francisco proved it to him that they respect him. They go and they traded Trey Lance away. That's a loss for San Francisco, you guys. Not forget, they traded 3 draft picks, first rounders, to move up and get him. And they lose Trey Lance for a fourth rounder to the Dallas Cowboys, right? So if that doesn't tell you that San Francisco is locked in on Brock Purdy, I guarantee you, Brock Purdy's seen that move. I know he's in rehab because of his injuries, but I guarantee you, he's hungry. He's ready to prove to the 49ers as like he has nothing to prove to them, but he's gonna go out and he's gonna shine as a thank you. I think Brock Purdy is not gonna have a huge year, not gonna have like a breaking records year, but he's gonna go in there and he's gonna do his job. I have the San Francisco representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's Mr. Irrelevant back there. It's all because of that head coach, that offensive coordinator, that defensive coordinator, and that amazing roster that John Lynch put together. I got to give it to John Lynch, man. That guy knows how to build the football team. I have to give it to Kyle Shanahan, man. That guy's know how to coach. His dad's a legend. His dad is a damn legend. Mike Shanahan's a legend. Go look at his coaching tree. That being said, man, I'm going to pass the mic back over to Adam. I think we're going to see a more refined, a better version of Brock Purdy. But then again, he did have an injury that he had to deal with too. But I think another year under his belt, I think we're going to see something, a little bit on the lines of a manager quarterback that doesn't make mistakes, that knows how to use the weapons around him. Go right ahead, Adam.
I think Brock Purdy is in the right situation because he doesn't have to come out there and go gangbusters. He has to be a manager right now. If his injury is not necessarily fully healed yet, and you don't want to let it rip, so to speak, that defense is the foundation. They're going to set the tone, and you've got your like what I like to call it the fast break offense, right? Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk. Those guys can all take it to the house. Okay, that's what they're built for. That's what they do, and they have a decent offensive line, right? So he doesn't have to be Mr. Irrelevant who turned relevant last year. He just needs to be relevant. He just needs to be there. He just needs to complete passes. I don't expect right now at the beginning of the year to see a high volume of throws because you don't want to do that to him. But as the year progresses, eventually you're going to need to open it up. See, Kyle Shanahan's one of those coaches like DeBall who can make players better in their system. Doesn't matter who's really there. They can take a quarterback, give them some time in the system, and that guy is going to be a functioning player, right? So Sam Darnold, I think if he came in, could function that offense enough for them to continue their march like they were doing. If they had Sam Darnold against the Eagles, who had been in the system for a year, they probably keep that game close, if not win that game. Who knows? You never know, right? The Eagles got knocked out. The Eagles were, I think, actually, it probably was inevitable that the Eagles were going to win because they were just that relentless. But my point is, it might have been more of a contest with a competent guy in here. And Kyle Shanahan does that. The one thing that Kyle Shanahan doesn't do well is crack under pressure. That's what he doesn't do well. When the game is close, he doesn't take advantage of the things that are there. If you look at his playoff history, right, some of the calls he made, some of the decisions that he made has cost his team dearly throughout his career. Now, the one thing I will say is they had Jimmy Garoppolo there last year. They probably would have done well with him if he hadn't gotten injured. They're probably again still in the same thing, and they don't have Brock Purdy, and he can just come up. So Brock Purdy to me again just needs to be simple. Get it done. Do the handoffs. You got Christian McCaffrey, all pro running back. You have Debo Samuel, arguably one of the best receivers in the NFL. You got George Kittle, excuse me, at tight end, right? And then you have Brandon Ayuk. So you have offensive players that can help you in this game, and this is when how people talk about having weapons, what weapons can do for you. It's weapons are like this. When you have a sick day and you're sick like you are today, and you may not be your best self, it's when these weapons can carry you over the finish line, right? Last night, we saw a guy named Mahomes carry a bunch of weapons to the finish line. They just couldn't punch it in, right, with drops. The San Francisco 49ers, while they have better talent, they are going to be able to pull Brock Purdy along as he comes back from his injury, right? And when he does come back from his injury and he starts to throw it all over the yard, guess what? Maybe they're in a good place now. They won a few games. They know how to win ugly and dirty and not have to pass it. And all of a sudden now he comes, let's say week 8, he's feeling great. My arm is back to normal. Let's throw it all over the yard. I think the same injury kind of affected Josh Allen last year too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Adam. I mean, I think you said it best. He's in a great situation. He's got a lot of good talent around him, and they can help uplift him as much as he can help uplift them as well. I mean, he's got a generational talent at running back behind him, Christian McCaffrey. He's got Debo Samuel, that guy that can do it all. I mean, he's a great receiver. He can also line him up in the backfield. He can do things. He's just as effective out of the backfield. Like I said, a guy like Brandon Ayuk that's also can do a little bit of everything as well. I mean, that 49ers offense is set up in a way for most quarterbacks to be successful, to be honest. And as long as you go out there and continue and just work at it and keep plugging away, that's the type of offense. That's a quarterback-friendly offense, to be honest. And I think Brock Purdy will be just perfectly fine, honestly, navigating his way through this season. Once again, look for a big year from Brock Purdy. And I'm not just saying that because he's on my fantasy team. I'm saying it because I think the young man really has a shot at making
There's
some
always a
noise out
method
there,
to the
man.
madness with Mac. Always a method to the madness. Always got to slip in that fantasy team. I love it, man. Stay who you are, man. That's why he'll talk to it, and then he'll just not because it's on my fantasy team or anything. Oh, man, I love it.
Just to get that little sneaky fantasy. And I do want to tell you, Adam, you inspired me. So I did grab Garrett Wilson on my fantasy team, and I do have Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football.
Well, I hope my wisdom helps. If it does, then I will start charging people money, my advice, because I can't keep giving away free ingredients to the winning formula all the time. I'm tired of doing it.
All right, fellas. Let me go ahead and move on, man. Let me jump into another game, man, that I was going to talk about a little bit, man. Great job you did with the Pittsburgh and San Fran game too, by the way, Adam. I'm gonna go to the oldest rivalry in football, man. The oldest rivalry in football: the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, man. And the Jordan Love era is now in full effect for the Green Bay Packers, man. This is a team growing up my entire life, my lifetime as a football fan. Here's the Green Bay Packers quarterback situation. They had the Magic Man back in the 80s. I'm dating myself a little bit, but Don Magic, whatever. I can't even pronounce his name anymore. But the Magic Man back in the 80s. Moved on once he was out of there. Moved on to Brett Favre. Man, we know the history of Brett Favre throughout the entire '90s into the 2000s with Brett Favre, and then this guy, Aaron Rodgers, comes along too, man, and he carries them up until last year. The Green Bay Packers have had a history of quarterbacks, man, of good ones, very, very good ones, and now Jordan Love is hoping to put his name up there too with the great Green Bay Packer quarterbacks, man. And the new era. I mean, I'm still this kid. He hasn't really had a large sample size for me to really judge and base this off of. But at the end of the day, To me, he's got some work to do. He has to show me what he really capable of because the small sample size hasn't been necessarily, to me, the best. Like I said, it's not the same as when the transition from Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre, where when you saw Aaron Rodgers, the small sample you had of Aaron Rodgers while Brett Favre was still there, it was very, very impressive. It was like enough to make once Brett Favre announced that retirement that first time, there wasn't no coming back. He tried to come back, and they said, "Nah, Brett, we're going to go forward with this kid right here, buddy." So sorry, you retired, man. Thanks for all the memories, bro. But we want to go forward with the young guy. I don't get the same vibe here. I just think this was a situation where they have no other real choice. I mean, they used a first round pick on Jordan Love in the 2020 draft, and they got now. I mean, Aaron Rodgers clearly didn't want to be there anymore. They traded, they got what they could get for him, and it's on to Jordan Love now, man. So now he gets to take part in what's one of the great historic rivalries in the NFL. Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, another quarterback, a lot to prove, man. We know obviously what he's been able to get accomplished with his legs. So far, he hasn't really been the most spectacular passer there is in the league, but at the same time, there's been some circumstances. He's had an issue with the weapons. He's obviously had an issue with the offensive line, which he still has an issue with that offensive line. That's going to be a huge question mark for the Chicago Bears this season, this entire year. As New York Giant fans, we know all about that, obviously. So this O-line is going to be an issue, but they did bring in a little bit of help for him with DJ Moore from Carolina. Bringing DJ Moore into the fold offensively, that should definitely be a weapon that could help Justin Fields along the way. As well as, Darnell Mooney, who's a decent young man out there at receiver, man, another guy that's decent that's been there, but now they don't have to rely on him to be the number one guy, as for say, because he got like a guy like DJ Moore in there now, and then you still got Chase Claypool there as well, and an upcoming Cole Kmet at tight end. So you look for some good things. Chicago's definitely trending in the right direction. Still not quite sure. They're still not quite there. They got some work to still do. A lot of young pieces. They got to really get that O-line fixed though for their quarterback Justin Fields, who can definitely grip it and rip it. There's no issue with the way the man can, if the man can throw. He just has to have the time to do it. He has to have time to look down the field and get it done, man. Right now, he's kind of got a run-first mentality, it seems like, and you can't blame the kid. He's running for his life most of the time. So look for this to be another classic Green Bay-Chicago matchup, man. Green Bay, only problem, Jordan Love coming into this game is he's going to be without his number one guy, Christian Watson. Obviously, is going to be out for this game, and Romeo Doubs is also a little banged up. Not sure about his status yet. He's questionable with a hamstring. Looks like he'll probably play. He'll probably be able to go, but these are two teams where it looks like I don't know what they expect from either one of these teams this season. I think Green Bay is definitely going to be trying to regroup for the next couple of years and get themselves back together, but they still probably will be able to still put out a decent product on the field because they're still just a great franchise, great legacy, the Green Bay Packers. And Chicago Bears, like I said, they're a team that's looking to rise from the ashes, man, and get back into be the monsters of the Midway again, something like that, the old school Chicago Bears. So this is going to be an interesting game. It's always fun to see this rivalry unfold on the field, man. Definitely one of the classic, one of the best ones ever, the oldest one in the league. So excited for this game Sunday, man. Just Green Bay, Chicago. You never get disappointed with this one. Zion, you can take the floor with your game.
Absolutely. I wanted to say, for this matchup between the Bears and the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Like Matt, you covered it perfectly. Jordan Love is going to be tested because of the fact that he is out his number one receiver. He has to utilize obviously Aaron Jones as the running back. But the one I'm looking for in this matchup, if you guys want an easy pick, if you guys want a free pick, don't blame me if I'm wrong because it's free. But I'm gonna take the money line straight on the Bears. Here's the reason why. If you don't mind showing my screen real fast, Matt. This team is loaded. Let me just zoom in on it. Now, even though in the overall total rankings, I do have them being last place because I do believe that Green Bay has a stronger defense. Let me just show you this real fast. They do get Cincinnati's offensive coordinator in Matt. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'm going to slaughter it. I'm not worried about the offense. The reason why is because the quarterback. I do believe in Justin Fields. I do believe that acquisition of DJ Moore is great. I think I think they're gonna have good numbers this season. I see Moore over 1,000 yards. I see Claypool getting his too. So I'm not worried about the offense too much. Now, the offensive line, I get it. If I was too worried about the offense, it will be the offensive line. But this is what I'm looking at for this matchup. I'm looking at this. If y'all don't know, I know people might get mad for even mentioning this, but check this out, okay? Matt was a linebackers coach for the Dallas Cowboys, okay? And who did they bring in? The captain on defense, Tremaine Edmonds. What does Tremaine Edmonds play? That's right. He plays a linebacker. Look at this defense, guys. I want you to study this defense. This guy's a proven veteran. Eddie Jackson is a veteran, okay? This guy, he just got bought in. He's a rookie. This guy's 23 years old. This guy's 22 years old or 23 years old. These are young people they have in their secondary. And up front, they have proven veterans with Tremaine Edmonds as their captain. I see the Bears coming out and making a statement this weekend. Now, I can't say for the long run, but I'm talking about today's game. I'm talking about Sunday's game, guys. I'm going to take the money line on the Bears. Reason being is I think these young defense has a lot to prove, and they're going to take advantage of Jordan Love being out a ripping. So that's what I'm going to use my time to give you guys a free pick. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears and this young defense to kind of do what the Lions did. And just kind of shock the world and beat a really good team where a lot of people ranking Green Bay high. Like, they have them high because of the fact that they do believe in their defense. I'm going to say Chicago comes up with the upset this weekend. Go right ahead, Adam. I don't think Adam's here.
Are we still talking about the Green Bay game?
Absolutely. Green Bay and the Bears. I just used my time to give a free pick and what I think is going to be the outcome. I think the Chicago defense is going to show up because they have a young head coach with a new addition of homie Tremaine Edmonds. I think I use my time to kind of defer it a different route, but you can use your time to break down the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears.
I think we need to take into consideration that maybe the Green Bay Packers have found somebody in their quarterback. Maybe just like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have three coaches in their history and two in my lifetime, right? Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin. Maybe we'll see another quarterback dynasty with Jordan Love. Remember, his coach, Matt LaFleur, is an offensive mind. Okay, they know him. They drafted him. They understand what he's been. He's been around Aaron Rodgers, and if you see what Aaron Rodgers did with Aaron Wilson in Hard Knocks and how he's played a role in that guy's kind of development, I could see where Jordan Love may actually benefit. Now, again, quarterback in the NFL has taken a hit. You don't have to be great anymore for your team to be good. You just need to be good enough, and your team will be fine, especially with the mediocreness that the NFL is, right? The reason why I think this season is going to be so fun to watch is a lot of teams that we all think have good players are all going to be fighting for wild card spots when the season is ending, right? So we think about 9 teams right now in the NFC. There might be 10 or 11 when we get this thing started as we go down the line. So I think Jordan Love might surprise some people and come out, and I don't think he's going to be an elevator like Aaron Rodgers is, but I think he'll be a capable player. Now, the thing that Matt Eberflus, the name that Zion was having trouble with, is the coach, and he's done some good things with quarterbacks. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do with Justin Fields. As you said earlier, Mac, DJ Moore is there. We saw him in the preseason get a screenplay and go 63 yards to the house. That's what a guy with that ability can do, and it's going to allow Justin Fields to have more running lanes as well, because now you can't play. You play man or you play zone, you're going to have to do something. You're either going to have to cover, DJ Moore, or you're going to have to let Justin Fields run. And I think they'll be more competitive. I don't know how much more competitive, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Reality check says, did you guys see Love's throwing motion? Put Aaron Rodgers over him, and their motion is exactly alike. I'm saying is you can obviously see he was learning from Rodgers. right, and also Matt LaFleur. So we'll see how it turns out. Again, we all want to give guys credit until they have a bad game. We got to let it play out because again, we don't know who's going to be good. But I know that Matt LaFleur is a decent coach. I know he's a decent offensive coach, and if he thinks Jordan Love is going to be able to move this thing downfield, we'll see. I will say this: the one thing that Jordan Love does a little differently than Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers buys time. Right, he likes to move out of the pocket, throw the ball off angles. Jordan Love's more of a runner. He's going to say, okay, I'm going to take off, run, get the first down, and keep it moving. Not saying he can't throw. He's got a good arm as well, but those are the difference you're going to see. It's not like Aaron Rodgers. The thing that he was like I say like this about Tony Romo. Guys escape to find a hole. When they find that hole, they launch it downfield. Jordan Love might decide, you know what, let me take the 5 yards here and live to see another down.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely, man. Like I said, it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be good. This could be the beginning of a very long, good, big rivalry in the NFC North Division, man. Two young quarterbacks, man, and they can go out there and try to make a name for themselves. I mean, Justin Fields kind of has to an extent, but we'll see. See how it all plays out. Zion, man, what you got on the Chargers Dolphins, man?
Chargers Dolphins. I do love this matchup. I do love Mike as a coach, but I don't know. I don't know what the secondary is. I mean, like last time I checked, they're going to be starting Eli Apple. It really hurt me when Ramsey went down because not only do they lose a player, but they lose a leader. Like no matter what you guys want to say about Ramsey, not you guys, but no matter what people say about Ramsey, guys, like he's a baller. You know what I'm saying? And when you lose someone like that, someone like we seen it last night. If Travis Kelce was playing, the Chiefs win that game. Not only does he go and catch passes in the game that Kadarius Toney clearly can't, but he goes and he hypes up the sideline. You know what I'm saying? It's like us without Barkley. He's the guy on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? And Ramsey is going to be that guy on the sideline if for these young not so good cornerbacks. So my question is really, I don't have no questions about the offense. They're explosive as hell. They're gonna put up points. It comes down to Chargers. Can they stop them? I know, homie. I can't believe I can't remember his name. He's one of the premier safeties in the league. Derwin James. Thank you. Yes, Derwin James. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited, but I think San Francisco. Not San Francisco. I'm sorry. I think the Chargers come up on top because of the defense. I don't know. I'm worried about Miami's secondary. I know that was a long explanation, but that's what this game is going to show me because obviously the Chargers have a respective defense and and the offense. I mean, like they just grabbed Quentin Johnson. Okay, so the offense is gonna go get points. Austin Eckler is gonna get his. Keelan Allen is gonna get his. Mike. Really, everyone's gonna get theirs. Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback. Can Miami stop that? And I don't think they can. Go right ahead, Adam.
I believe. Well, I like the Chargers, so I can't say I don't like the Chargers. But I will say this: we're not talking about Vic Fangio as much as maybe we should. He's a good defensive mind, and he's going to have that team with a good defensive plan. Now, yes, is Eli Apple Jalen Ramsey? Hell no. Okay, Eli Apple is a scrub when it comes to Jalen Ramsey, but he is a functional cornerback and can do what is asked of him to do. Now, can he cover Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, one of the most underrated duos in the league? I don't know, yet to be seen. The Chargers, if they want us to believe that they're truly legit, need to win this game because Miami, in my eyes, is a team that could be a sleeper team to go to the Super Bowl. They're that good of a team. They're that talented of a roster. And when Tua plays for them, they win, right? They win a lot of games. And let's be honest, last year, Skylar Thompson should have been at Walmart, being the security guard, not playing quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. I shouldn't hate on Skylar Thompson, but, he wasn't ready for that moment. Now they have Mike White, meaning they have a guy competent enough now that can go out there and make their plays. Last year against Buffalo, they were in the game, and it was because of their quarterback. So if they can stay healthy, they're going to be tough to beat. We're forgetting that they have Tyreek Hill on that side. We're forgetting they have Jalen Waddle on that side. I mean, those two are two of the most dynamic receivers in the entire NFL. And while I want to believe the Chargers have a propensity to do these type of things and choke in big moments. That's what they're due. I'm hoping they don't because I love Justin Herbert and I hope he can break that curse that is the black cloud of um, of the Chargers. And Kellen Moore being brought in, let's see what he can do. I remember he was with the Cowboys and he helped some of those Cowboy offenses go. He's going to be calling the plays for Kellen Moore. So we won't see any. I think we'll see a bit more exotic plays for Justin Herbert. I think we'll see a lot more screen passes out of the backfield. I think you'll see a lot more possession type of offense because to me, that's how you beat Miami. Miami's got Tyreek Hill. When you got a guy like Tyreek Hill on the field, you've got instant offense. You've got instant offense in a heartbeat. You scheme it up right, that guy's going for 6. It just that's how it happens, right? So you've got to be prepared. How do you stop guys? Well, what I've learned over my 20-something years of watching this game, maybe longer, probably more than that. Yeah, probably 30 years of watching this game, close enough, is that in order to be a good offense, there's 2 things you need to do. Be physical and eat up clock. If you do those 2 things, you can beat an offense that is like the Miami Dolphins, who, again, are going to be like a track meet out there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I don't really have much for this game other than right now just to say the Chargers right now. My only fear with the Chargers is can they get out of their own heads? That playoff collapse season back in January, that's kind of thing sometimes can linger with a team's psyche, man. If they can just get that, erase that from their minds, go out there and understand that this is a new season, new beginnings. I think the sky's the limit for Los Angeles Chargers football team. I think they can definitely have what it takes to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs out there in the West, AFC West. So we'll see, man. Justin Herbert got paid. They ain't got to worry about nothing like that. No distractions from that standpoint. So it's just up to them, man. Can they get out of their own minds? We know they have the talent. You mentioned my man Derwin James earlier. That dude's legit one of the best safeties in this league right now, currently, and he leads the way on that defense. So let's see, man. They get their big left tackle back in Rashawn Slater. Let's go, man. Sky's the limit for the Chargers. Just got to get out of their own heads, man, and we'll see what happens there. But guys, let's go. Let's go to Sunday Night Football now, man. Some quick thoughts on this game Sunday night, man. Obviously, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys, NFC East. Don't get no better than that. MetLife Stadium, man. Let's go. Take it away, Zion.
Yes, I love premiering again on Sunday night. I love premiering against the Dallas Cowboys. It's just a team matchup. I know Dak Prescott in the last couple of years is 10-0 against us, but that doesn't matter, okay? Because it does matter. I'm not trying to dismiss that, but it's a new season. That's the past. We don't worry about the past. We're looking at the future, okay? We don't want to talk about the past. And though we do reference the past in conversations, that's always good, We're looking at the future, and I think it's going to be a tough battle for both teams. I think we have to utilize, get pressure on Dak Prescott, frustrate him. I want to see him flying his helmet on the sideline. Stop the run. That's key right there. Stopping the run, force them to throw the ball, and then what we have to do is stop number 11. You know what I'm saying? If we stop number 11, we have a chance because number 11 on defense can wreck the game for us. Okay, the night's over if number 11 gets hot. Okay, we don't want number 11 to get hot. Michael Parsons, you don't get hot. I think we have a chance here. I have the Cowboys getting out to an early start, probably leading most of the game. I have us, and like I said, this is just a prediction. I am going to reference last year. We was a second half team. I see us scoring early, but then struggling a bit. The Cowboys leading into the half, but then we come back at the end and we kick a field goal to win the game. So I have the Giants winning 24-21. Low scoring game, defensive fight, good matchup, NFC. But who knows? It could be a high scoring game. But for this one, I have it 24-21. We win with a Graham Gano a field goal.
What you got, Adam?
Well, not many people are going to like my thoughts, but I think the Cowboys they have a little bit of a banged up line coming in. There's still some game time decisions. But if our guy Darren Waller can't fully it can play, but it's not the fully Darren Waller that we expect. That could be a momentum killer for us. I'm a little concerned about that, that he popped up on there. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think this game is going to come down to scoring points at the end of the day. The Cowboys scored 30 points a game with Dak Prescott as the starting quarterback. They averaged last year 27.5 points a game last year. Giants scored barely 20 points a game. You're gonna have to score points in this game because I do believe you'll be able to move the football on both the defenses, but I do think that the Cowboys, who we only think about number 11, but they have other guys on this team who are proven: Demarcus Lawrence, Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, a couple other guys to mention, and they also got Stephon Gilmore, who is a very good corner who can help them eliminate some of our receiving core. Now, I like our receiving core. I think it's better than last year. Let's be honest, they stopped Jalen Hyatt and Isaiah Hodgins. They stopped Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton last year. I don't think they're going to have too much trouble doing that.
What's up, my puppy?
I think there will be a big play by Hyatt. I think that he might be able to get behind the defense. But I can't count out what the Cowboys have done. I think the Cowboys beat the Giants 35-31 in a close game, but the Giants have to score. They have to score points. If they get behind in the lead, that's advantage Cowboys. Advantage Cowboys. Okay, the Giants need to play with. I know we got all these weapons and all these toys, but we need to play within the confines of our strengths, which is short passing game, methodical drives, giving the ball to Barkley, and not letting Daniel Jones have to, as Max says, grip it and rip it. So Daniel Jones does best when he's a manager and can be efficient. And if he has to drop back and pass and throw deep and get out of his comfort zone a little bit and is exposed more, because our offensive line, we still don't know what those interior guys are going to give us yet. And, there are some veterans on that side of the football that can play, and I have to respect the Cowboys defense. So we'll see. It's going to be a dogfight. But again, we'll see. Yes, please let the Cowboys get the ball, because every time the Giants get the ball, they lose. So if the Giants get the ball to start the game and they lose the game, my theory will be correct, because every game that they didn't get the ball first, they're winning.
Unpopular Opinion Sports, NYG22, y'all. Make sure y'all sub up to my guy, Unpopular Opinion Sports, man. Doing great things over there with his Sunday conversations each and every Sunday in the heart of the city podcast every Tuesday night, man. My guy, Unpopular Opinion Sports, got the Giants winning 35-28.
I understand. I'm crazy. I had that thought last week. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, for this game here, this is the tale of two. Like you said it once, Adam. Tale of two teams, man. All right, here's my analogy with these two teams. The Cowboys are a team of superstars of the present, the names we know. The Giants are a team full of what I believe is superstars of the future yet to come, man. Superstars, we don't know them yet. They're young guys. A lot of people they're not household names, not the casual fans, casual viewers don't know these guys. They're not familiar with the Jason Pinnocks of the world and a couple other Jalen Hyatts necessarily, and some other young talent this New York Giants has compiled on this football team. But I believe you gotta let it unfold on the field, and I think that's what's going to be special about the New York Giants football team this year is because it's got so many guys that's going to sneak up on you that you're like, oh, I don't know who the hell these guys are, but they out there balling, and I think this coaching staff is going to have these guys ready to go. Like I said, I disagree with you slightly, Adam, with the Daniel Jones take. I feel like Daniel Jones has the weapons now that he can grip it and absolutely rip it. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that this season, man. As long as that O-line can hold up, I think now he has the weapons in place that he can feel confident to launch that ball down the field and know guys are going to make plays. I think that's something that we've lacked in this offense basically the entire time he's been here, other than his rookie season with Golden Tate, which he was absolutely letting it fly a lot of times down the field, and Golden Tate was out there making plays like that's just what he did. we haven't really seen that version since his rookie season of him being confident throwing that ball down the field. Like you said, he's been living and dying with the short pass game. But as long as that old line, which is the main part of this offense, that definitely still concerns me a bit. If that old line can hold up, I think we're going to see a different version of Daniel Jones, and we're going to see more of that. Like you said, it may lead to more turnovers again because that's usually what tends to happen when we throwing the ball down the field a lot more. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to get that version because I think he has the weapons now, and he's just like I said, taking on a new. It's something you can see with this the way he walks around, the way he just carries himself a lot differently, man. He's not this. He's just not the same guy. He seems like just such a more confident young man, and he knows this. He got his guys behind him. His teammates believe in him, and I think we're going to see something really good. And I do like the New York Giants here as well in a close one. And I think you're right. You got to be able to score points to beat the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to have a interesting high flying game Sunday, man. I think both teams are going to score, put some serious points on the board, and I had the New York Giants in this one, 32-28. Hopefully that comes to fruition, but you never know, man. Like you said, you got to go out there and get it done on the field. And I also believe people are really sleeping on how good this New York Giant defense can also be, man. I think that's actually another key element people were sleeping on. Yeah, we don't have all the names the Dallas Cowboys have on our defense, and I get that. But like I just said, I think we got some superstars that are yet to come. And like I said, I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep pounding it until y'all understand. Pause. All right. I'll say the pause there. All right. But we gonna keep I really believe Joe Shane is putting together, like I said, one of the absolute best young secondaries this league is going to see, man. And I think in a couple of years from now, they're going to be unquestionably the best secondary in this league, man. I think just got young talent filling out the corners, the safeties, a lot of good young guys, man. And yeah, they got to go out and prove it, but I think they have the ability to do so. Because I think, like I said, once again, I always keep saying this too: this coaching staff will have these guys ready to go. And I'm not saying the Cowboys staff won't have them ready to go. I understand that these are all professionals here, but I just think the fascination with this, the reserve with this is just because the Giants just don't have a lot of the names people know, so people don't know what to really think. And I think they get a good opportunity to find out a little bit of that on Sunday. Like I said, at some point the shit got to stop. You know, the Cowboys ain't going to just keep dominating the New York Giants. It's got to stop at some point. I think this is the team that can help make that stop. So, but we go ahead and run down the rest of these games real quick. I'm gonna just say the game. You guys give me a W, L. We don't need scores, none of that. Just W, L. All right. People still forget about Barkley too. That dude has something to prove. Yeah, absolutely agree. I think he's going to be running with a serious purpose this year also. But all right, I'm gonna run the game. We're gonna run down the games. Just give me a W or L, fellas. Houston Texans against the Baltimore Ravens. I think you know where we're all going there.
Ravens.
Ditto, Ravens. All right, Bengals, Browns.
Bengals. Joe Burrow's going to earn his money. Bengals because Joe Burrow got paid.
What you say, Adam?
Browns.
You got the Browns. This is a tough one, man. I got Cincinnati on the road edging them out though. Bucks, Vikings.
Vikings.
Ditto, Vikings. The Buccaneers absolutely are terrible and be one of the worst teams in the league. Titans, Saints.
Ooh.
I got the Saints here.
This is an interesting matchup.
I want to say Titans. I like that game.
I kind of want to agree with you, Adam. This is an intriguing matchup. I kind of agree with you, Adam. I'm gonna go Titans.
Saints at home.
I think they get it, man. On the road in the dome. Panthers, Falcons. Debut of Bryce Young. Debut of Bijan Robinson.
I'll go with the Falcons.
The Falcons are gonna smoke them.
Down in the dome, I like down in the dome. I like Atlanta as well, man. I think Bijan Robinson's going to come out and have quite the day on that
Can I just
Carolina
have a
defense.
moment to say this real fast? Real fast. I'm sorry not to take up too much time, but I have like the Atlanta Falcons, if any team, being that team that scores like 41 points this weekend. Like, continue.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, Jacksonville and Indianapolis. I think we all know where we're going here.
Let's
Jags.
go with Jacksonville, man.
I'd be
Duval.
stunned if it went any other way. I'd be stunned if it went any other way. But if it does go the other way, I think Anthony Richardson will be a big part of that. But I can't see it too much. Jacksonville's got too much firepower. Niners Steelers.
I got the Steelers at home.
I'll take the Niners.
I know everybody's picking the Steelers upset special of the week, but I like the Niners too. I think they just got a little too much. I agree with what you said earlier, Adam. A little too much, man. Cardinals Commanders.
Commanders all day, any day.
Commander Sam gets his first victory. I'm going to call
I
them
definitely
Commander
agree with you guys on that.
Engine Howls.
I love it.
I think we definitely agree that the Cardinals are probably one of the worst teams in football, or maybe the worst team in football. But yeah, so definitely the Commanders there. Raiders Broncos.
You got the Broncos.
We got the Raiders.
I like the Broncos here in Denver. I think the Broncos are going to surprise some people this year a little bit. I think just once again, like I keep saying, coaching matters, and I think they got a good coach in there that's going to coach this team up, even though they're dealing with some adversities right now.
Well, I can't
What's
see
his name again? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Let's go, Sean Payton. I got the Broncos. Let's go.
All right, Dolphins Chargers out in L.A.
I got the Chargers.
I have the Bolts. The Bolts.
I got the Dolphins, man. I like this
Yes.
team. I think they're going to travel out
like
there and knock off the Chargers, man, out there week one.
I like the changes.
E- Eagles Pats.
What over the Eagles?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
did I just
not
say
even
that?
a question. Like,
Did I just say that? Did those words come out of my mouth? Yuck.
there he goes all the way any day of the week. I'm sorry, Bill.
Yeah, this is my lock of the week here, man. I think the point spread is disrespectful to the Eagles, and I think that they're going to go out there and destroy the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. I see the Eagles winning by like 21 points.
Well, now they're
I have no idea
win.
how this point spread is so low.
That's the NFL for you. So they're going to go out there and
No clue how this point spread
by
is so
3
low.
touchdowns, and they're going to win by 3 points.
All right, Packers Bears, fellas.
I got the Bears.
Oh my! I have the Packers.
I got the Bears in this one as well.
Wow, that's for you guys.
Rams Seahawks.
Funny thing about it is I had the Rams at first, and then Cup got hurt, so it's Seahawks.
You're going to pick the Rams?
Oh, was if Cup was playing?
Seriously?
Yeah,
This is
because
Seattle, bro.
I have Seattle. I have Seattle as a better team overall, but this it was gonna be the Rams upset. Week one Rams was gonna upset them, but Cooper Cup's not playing, so give me Seattle. As long as I'm gonna take the mic a bit. As long as you have Aaron Donald, anything's possible.
And on to the next game.
Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, I got Seattle as well. I don't think
I got
it's gonna
Seattle
be that
too.
competitive.
I got Seattle too.
But all right, Sunday night we kind of already all picked the Giants. I mean, the Dallas game. Adam's going with picking Dallas. Me and Zion both went the Giants. And then there's Monday night, Bills Jets. Great one from Monday night to end the week.
I'm going with the Jets, Jets.
I'm flying with the Jets too.
I'm going with the Jets. 9/11 emotions going to be high in that stadium, man, and I think the Jets do pull it out on 9/11, man, up in MetLife Stadium there on Monday Night Football. Guys, man, you guys have anything else before we skate up out of here for the night?
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's gonna be a good fight tomorrow. We'll see what happens with Sean Strickland and Izzy. Also, shout out to USC. I hope you guys smash the Stanford. You know, if they don't even have a chance, hope we win by like 56 points. Because how the hell salutes Florida State, but they can't be jumping us by that much. That being said, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Folks, the March for the Lombardi begins on Sunday. Everybody sit back in your chair, enjoy the games, because before you know it, Matt just said this, right? We just played one game. He goes, there's 16 more left, right? If you are in the NBA season or the MLB season, you have 165 games still remaining, right? In the NBA, you'd have 81 games remaining in hockey and so on and so forth. We have 16 after Sunday, and it gets smaller and smaller from then on out. And the journey is long, but it's worth it in the end. Ride with your team, feel their emotion, enjoy every minute of it. Like who you like who you don't like. At the end of the day, we all love football. Let's go.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you, everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys coming through for us on a new time slot here for the Premium Takes podcast. New night, new time slot. Really appreciate it, man. You guys coming through, showing that love, man. We're gonna be bringing this to y'all each and every Friday night, and just make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. I'm just gonna do a little plug for myself real quick. I'm sorry, guys, shameless plug, but my True Blue season 3's premiere, the True Blue preview will be out released tomorrow, man. Make sure y'all go check it out, man. Get y'all ready for that Dallas Cowboys New York Giants matchup Sunday night, and definitely Sunday night after the game. Yes, late night. It will be late. I don't give a damn. It'll be like about damn near around this time. I will still be coming with y'all live for the True Blue Aftermath immediately following the New York Giants Dallas Cowboys matchup Sunday night. So y'all tune in, and definitely don't forget to check me and Adam out once again next Wednesday night, next Wednesday evening for the real deal NFC East roundup. And we'll be back with y'all next Friday night, all three of us once again for the Horsemen for another episode of the Premium Takes podcast. So make sure y'all sub up to myself, Adam Costas, Zenith, man. We and just always, man, remember the memory of our guy NYG Jeffy T, man. Most definitely throw them fours up, man, for us, baby, for NYG Jeffy T, and for all the rest of us, bro. We up out of here, man. See y'all next week.